Hello everyone. Okay, welcome back. The Impossible Art of Being Human, Sven Jorgensen. So one of the first things I want to lay out here are the rules, kind of the rules of the game of life. And there's a lot of rules, possibly, um, but these are what I would consider the top 3 rules to the game of life. We've already talked about something that's not even a rule, but is kind of maybe the ultimate guideline, which is love is the answer. But if there's some rules for life or some guidelines, then I would say rule number 1 is there are no rules. And that's because there's no single right answer for all situations or all people in all situations. Everything's very case specific. So there's guidelines, there's suggestions, there's recommendations, but there's no real rules to life. I mean, everything is in this moment, for this person, in this set of circumstances. Rule number 1, there are no rules. Rule number 2, if there are any rules, rule number 2 would be truth in pursuit of freedom. The whole idea here is to free ourselves from suffering, basically. That's kind of a Buddhist concept, maybe. I haven't really studied Buddhism, so I don't know, but anyhow, to truly be free, which has been one of my great drives in life, to really set myself free, to be the best Sven that I can be, one of the most critical things is truth. Truth is what allows us to most efficiently get where we're trying to go. Lying or dishonesty or denial, these things trying to hide ourselves from the truth, all of those may provide temporary relief from discomfort. We maybe are in an uncomfortable situation like, wow, if I tell my friend that I don't really like their hairdo, maybe they're going to not like me anymore. They're going to feel judged by me and think that I don't like them, and I'm uncomfortable with all of that. So instead of telling them that I think the hairstylist did a terrible job on their hair, I'll just be like, yeah, it's great. But honestly, wouldn't that person rather know that their haircut's not so great so they can go do something about it and, be a better person in the world because they feel better about their hair, etc.? So we can come up with 1,000 different examples, but the fundamental idea is that if you are lying to yourself, lying to others, being dishonest in any way, or hiding from the truth, concealing the truth from yourself, being in denial, or just lying by omission, which is to say hiding information that's important for someone else to have, but since you didn't tell them, it wasn't a lie, right? That might be like the case, like you really want to be physically intimate with someone and you know that maybe you have an STD, so if you just don't talk about STDs, you can be intimate with them and not worry about the fact that you lied. Well, you are actually putting that person in harm's way. You're taking a risk on their behalf. You're robbing them of the opportunity to make a decision and be self-responsible regarding their own personal health and safety and well-being. And while that may get you what you want in the immediate term, which is to be physically close with that person, in the long term, it's a violation of trust, and you're never going to have a healthy dynamic or relationship or interaction with that person. So any efforts we make to deny the truth, hide from the truth, ignore the truth, or just not state what is true just by leaving true things out, it's always going to result in a more difficult, more arduous, more convoluted, and greater level of discomfort along the path in the long run. So the truth is always in service to our freedom. The truth is always the thing that will most efficiently get us to the highest quality of life and the best possible experience. Okay? The truth gets us to freedom. And when I say freedom, we mean kind of living our best life, everything that's really good about experiencing life. To be able to be fully free means that I'm an empowered individual. I walk through the world free from suffering. I walk through the world free to experience life's joys. I walk through the world free to not be impacted by the hard words that someone might have for me. So freedom is really about having an incredibly high quality of life, really the best quality. And the final rule ties into some of the stuff I was just talking about, which is do no harm. If nothing else, do no harm. It's not always possible to control the circumstances around us. I'm not always able to make the world a better place, but at the very least, I can do my best not to make the world a worse place. I may not be able to help my friend solve a problem that they have, but I can certainly do my best not to make their problem worse. I may not be able to give someone what they want, but I can definitely make sure that I am not responsible for causing harm in another person's life. And obviously there's tons of examples we can immediately think of, oh my god, I'm in an alley and someone's threatening to kill a child, and the only way for me to intervene is if I tackle that person to the ground, and in doing that I'm going to scratch their hands, bang their head on the ground, or maybe I kill them to protect the child, whatever. You can come up with 1,000 examples of why any one thing is not true. RE, go back to rule number 1, there are no rules. But again, as a very general guideline, one of the most important things is do no harm. So there you have it, kind of 3 foundational elements, 3 key initial guidelines. 1, there are no rules. 2, truth in service of freedom. And number 3, do no harm. Once again, Sven Jorgensen here with you at The Impossible Art of Being Human. Thanks so much for joining. More to come almost immediately. By the way, if you notice some sound quality changes on these initial videos, I'm playing with different microphones and microphone settings to get it dialed in, so ultimately we'll have good, consistent quality sound.